Hi, everyone, and welcome to SQM Picks. I'm David Lipton. For those of you new to SQM Picks, our company SQM first started a blog several years ago to highlight businesses that provide outstanding customer service. Businesses that have been featured range from small mom and pop companies to some of the larger international brands. Highlighted companies come from a number of different industries, including restaurants, retail stores, medical offices, lawyers, and various tourist attractions. We've also featured an auto body shop and a junkyard on the blog, which just goes to prove that any business can provide outstanding service. Our guest today is Marc Petitpas, founder and owner of Marc Petitpas Business Coaching. Marc has been in the business world for many years and decided to hang his own shingle a while back, focusing on helping others to get the most out of their employees and their businesses. Marc, welcome to SQM Picks.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
So tell us a little bit about your business, where you're located. Tell us more about the various products or the various services, I should say, that you offer.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I'm physically located on Georgian Bay, but my clients are all across North America. So a lot of the work is done live across offices in Canada, the US, and virtually. I do 5 things really simply. I go into organizations and I help them with leadership training to train the behaviors that leaders aren't given when they're promoted, to help organizations scale and succeed. I do sales training, which is a lot of my background, and bring those tools and awareness to organizations again so they can grow. I do strategic planning to help organizations get organized, 5-year plans, strategies, objectives, and tactics. I do a little bit of keynote speaking. And then my biggest one is I do fractional services, where I go in and I sit in a role temporarily at a fraction of the executive cost and bring all that knowledge to the organization to either work for them part-time or help them land their full-time executive.
Now, I think when I first met you, it was many, many years ago when you were in the sports industry, working with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. We then continued to keep in touch when you were working, I guess, in real estate or I guess it would be real estate development.
Mhm.
Are you specializing in any particular sector or any particular industry, or anybody who needs those type of services?
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the reasons I've picked those 5 services, David, is they're applicable across any industry. So, I'm dealing with engineers, I'm dealing with land planners, sports and entertainment, national retailers, national sporting organizations, you name it, logistics companies, anywhere where those 5 things apply, which they do in most industries, because they're about training behaviors and giving people a process.
Gotcha. Now, aside from those various services, you also wrote a book. Tell
I
us a little
did.
bit about the book.
Yeah, I always thank you for asking. I always mention a gentleman by the name Mike Ulmer who worked with me at MLSE. He was a journalist there and kind of was responsible for all the stuff you saw on the website around Leafs Nation. He was on TV doing actual interviews and content with the players. Anyways, Mike's been an author his entire career. I wrote for The Sun, a few other national newspapers. And when I started to write this book, I realized quickly I'm not a professional writer, but I sure do have a heck of a lot to say, and needed to get those thoughts gathered professionally. And Mike co-wrote the book with me and actually did a little interview with me. He'd write a chapter, I'd edit it and give him a little bit of feedback and tweak it. And we did it that way and ultimately came out with that book. So when people say I'm an author, I've written a book, I'm always quick to pass credit to the individual who did such a great job with that.
Who would be the book? Who was it most focused on? Who do you think should be reading the book?
Anyone that leads people, anyone that leads a team, the whole concept being the 50-year-old millennial is I can't be a millennial at 52, but the millennials were the first generation that started to leave workplaces if they didn't get the leadership that they wanted. And they identified that leadership gap that organizations haven't been training. We've predominantly promoted people that are good at their job, but to help other people good at their job is a whole new skill set. And so the book was really about that. So anyone who leads teams and is looking for the right behaviors in a process, that book should add some value.
It's interesting, and I've been guilty as charged for sometimes promoting people that do a great job in their particular job, but then go on to try to lead others or supervise, and they just don't have the necessary skills. So it is critical to an organization's success that you promote the right people, or at least you have the right people in the roles. Now, I also know you for building strong relationships. How do you build strong relationships? What's your secret to building strong relationships with your clients?
Oh, that's a great question, and thank you, because I thought we've always had a great relationship, and really it was founded on value. Like David, you spent a lot of time knowing and learning about BMO Field and how I was going to operate as a general manager and what was important to our clients, and built a personal relationship that allowed us to get to the professional solution. And so I share that compliment with you because it is kind of my approach. Um, I really find that the more you practice the art of inquiry versus advocacy, so finding out a little bit more before you state your position and where you want to go, and becoming a student of individuals' purpose, the stronger the relationship and more aligned you get where you can help in business.
I agree. And you know what? Again, I'm sometimes guilty as charged. My business partner, Craig, often says to me that I have two ears and one mouth and I have to be quiet and listen more. And in some cases, of course, ask questions. So I've had the pleasure of working with different businesses, large and small. I love actually getting the chance to work in their businesses, anything from airlines and hotels to restaurants, and seeing what's going on behind the scenes. So yeah, absolutely a great approach. Now, I have one other question that isn't necessarily focused on either myself or your business, but what do you suggest for people who are trying to grow their business, they're trying to develop as leaders, aside from your services, aside from learning from others in the industry, any other particular resources that might help somebody to support their growth, to support their development?
Yeah, I mean, when people ask me that question, and I'm in year 5 of my own business here, and if I could rewind, the first thing I'd say is lean on people who are experts and get some guidance, and be open to feedback. It'll accelerate your failures. Failing fast has been a big one for me. I look back now, and just the way I go to market and who I approach. My sales and marketing strategies are so radically different than they were in the first year, because I had to spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money to get into the hands of the right partners and align my own behaviors and skills and process to where I could bring value to my customer base. Which, so if I could share anything, it's like, go ahead, jump in, but learn your lessons quickly and try and find some people who can help you do that learning quicker if you want to get quicker results.
I completely agree. Marc, it's always been interesting to see your approach to business and how you work with others, be it suppliers, employers, employees, business owners, just friends and colleagues. With the exception of your love of the Montreal Canadiens, you're a class act, and I wish you continued success.
It,
While your contact information is going to show up on the screen, please tell everyone how they could connect with your business.
Okay, first of all, I will gladly do that, but it's a little too soon, David, for like the Habs comment. Like, what was it, a few days
Yeah,
ago? Yeah, you can get me on LinkedIn. So Marc Petitpas, MarcPetitpas. Same name for the website, www.marcpetitpas.com. Emails mark@marcpetitpas.com. Don't forget it's a C. And then I can be called at any point at 705-888-5890. And I do a free diagnosis, so there's no charge. I'm always happy to jump on a call and see if I can help in any way.
perfect. Well, Marc, again, thanks very much for your time today. On that note, I want to thank everybody for watching another episode of SQM Picks. Since we're always on the lookout for companies that provide outstanding service or great products, if you know of any that you would like to nominate, please send an email to sqmpicks@sqm.ca. Thanks again for joining us, and look for another company to be featured on SQM Picks shortly.